The 7 things you should be talking about today. Number 7.
Birmingham City School Board, which oversees a school system where 12% of high schoolers are proficient in reading and 5% are proficient in math. That school board has now rejected a request from the Alabama Aerospace Aviation High School to build a campus near one of their high schools, which is a free campus for people who would benefit from going to a charter school focusing on aviation and aerospace. They said no. They're so anti-opportunities in education that they don't even want their highest achievers to have opportunities. Now, this school wanted to be in Birmingham in the first place, and it's in Bessemer right now. They want to build another campus inside Birmingham, and Birmingham said no. Can the school board members read at a grade level that is like 12th grade? Can they do that? How's their math? My guess is not good. This is bad for the city of Birmingham.
Number 6.
Montgomery Mayor Stephen Reed condemned a billboard featuring an image from Bloody Sunday with a slogan, "Make America Great Again," on it, calling it a misuse of historical imagery that risked deepening political divides. They had Bloody Sunday, and they put on top of it, "Make America Great Again," and this comes from the Montgomery Museum of Fine Arts. Just trash. And by the way, continue giving them money, legislators. Just continue doing that. Continue pumping money into these institutions that hate every one of your citizens. That is a really smart move. Reed said that, it shouldn't have been put up. The board itself says, we don't know how this thing got up without approval, which is known as lying. And if they're going to lie like this, the legislators should defund these institutions if they're going to lie to the people like this.
Number 5.
The Army has identified Captain Rebecca M. Lobach as the third soldier who died in the mid-air collision between an Army helicopter and an American Airlines jet near Reagan National Airport that killed 67 people. Her family described her as a dedicated and ambitious officer. Lobach worked with the Joe Biden White House as an aide, which in conjunction with her being a lesbian, has led to scrutiny on whether or not she was fully qualified. We don't know any of that, but a lot of people are making that suggestion. My suggestion would be the same suggestion I made on Friday rather. We need to wait until the investigation takes place. The media is saying that Donald Trump said it's because of diversity, which is not what he said. He has talked about the diversity issues at the FAA and said we shouldn't be focusing on that. We should be focusing on air safety, which is correct. But everyone should stop blaming each other for this, and we should see what actually happened in this case.
Number 4.
In what was expected, unreported and uncorroborated claims of harm coming to illegal immigrants, which was absolutely expected. It's already starting here in Albertville, Alabama. We have a case where Crystal Yvonne claims her quote-unquote sibling was confronted by quote-unquote white supremacists at a 4-way stop. Now, a gun was apparently pulled, but they decided not to tell the cops about it. When asked about telling the cops, Yvonne's story changed twice, claiming that no police report had been filed, and then saying he didn't call the police because the guy drove off speeding. He didn't have time to get a license plate number. And when people said, well, you should still probably tell the police, and she changed her answer to, he has a dash cam, recorded the whole thing, saw everything that happened, but the police won't do anything about it since they can't see the license plate. Now, obviously, this whole story is a lie. They did not go to the police, and people should not be lying about stuff like this.
Number 3.
The Alabama Law Enforcement Agency has established a task force to support federal immigration enforcement efforts, aligning with President Trump's aggressive deportation strategy, as they absolutely should. There was a video put out by Lieutenant Governor Will Ainsworth where he pledged full cooperation with agencies like ICE and Homeland Security, saying that immigrants commit a crime the moment they jump our border. And he references in this video all the protests around the state where they're causing problems. They're chanting about ICE. They're doing anti-American things. They're waving foreign flags. They're doing all this other stuff. In LA, they're blocking freeways. You're seeing all of this. So this whole thing that they decided to do where, we're going to go stand out in the streets and scream about how no people are illegal on stolen land. Well, good job, because all you're doing is emboldening the people that want to crack down on this, and I'm glad they're doing it.
Number 2.
Panama bends the knee. Quick, point out Panama on a map. Actually, people could probably do that one because it's that little tiny piece of land right there where, we like to send our ships through. Yeah, that's right. As a newly confirmed Secretary of State Marco Rubio has gone to Panama, the country has bent the knee and become the first Latin American nation to exit China's Belt and Road Initiative, with President Jose Raul Molino stating he will not renew the agreement and may seek early termination. Rubio reiterated that the U.S. would not allow China's growing influence over the Panama Canal region as part of President Donald Trump's reasserting of American dominance in the region and around the world. The decision is seen as a significant setback for Beijing's global ambitions and a win for the United States' efforts to counter Chinese expansion in Latin America. War with Panama has been averted, everyone.
And now time for the number 1 thing you should be talking about today.
Speaking of foreign policy, and Donald Trump is flexing his muscles. Holy cow. President Donald Trump has imposed new tariffs on imports from Canada, China, and Mexico starting on Tuesday, citing economic security and immigration concerns, but acknowledging potential economic pain despite previous promises of lower consumer costs. That's true. Also, they're citing fentanyl as the main reason, but I think that is merely a paperwork cover for what they're doing here, because the rules allow them to put tariffs and stuff on in times of national emergency. What kind of emergency do we have? A fentanyl emergency. In retaliation, we now have a trade war with Canada and Mexico, and China is considering legal action through the World Trade Organization. The cost on all countries involved will be real, with economists predicting higher inflation, rising energy costs, and a decline in economic growth, with the average American household potentially losing between $1,000 and $1,200 in purchasing power annually. But the U.S. holds great leverage in these conversations because the Canadian exports to the United States account for 22% of their GDP. Mexican exports to the United States make up 35% of their GDP, while 2% of U.S. imports are tied to the two countries. And Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has already warned this could push the two countries, Mexico and Canada, I don't know, we should start calling it that, into a recession. So they already are pretty much acknowledging that they do not have a very strong hand here. Now, they're going to try to save face. That's what they're going to try to do. They're going to try to get to a yes instead of a no and stop this whole thing from happening. Can they do that? I don't know. I really don't know. Okay, and I really believe that we have to follow through on this. We have to. There is no question about this. We have to follow through, and there has to be a trade war. And we have no choice over this. Either they have to acquiesce and bend the knee like Panama did, like Colombia did, and they have to do that. If they're not willing to do that, we've got to create some pain. And that could mean some pain for us. Maple syrup, hockey pucks, avocados, Coronas. These are all things that could become more expensive. So watch out. Should have get your hockey pucks today. Don't wait till tomorrow. It could go up. Be very hockey sticks as well. There's other things that come from Canada. If you can think about other stuff that comes from Canada, please let me know. Oil, by the way, for real for a second. 25% on a lot of things, oil 10%. So energy costs could go up a little bit as well, which could drive the cost of everything up. This is a gamble by Donald Trump, but I think that this was exactly what his voters voted for. So we'll see where all of this goes. You can weigh in right here and let me know how many hockey pucks you plan on buying today to avoid those tariffs. We'll listen to it. You can tell me about it right now. 205-545-9950. Get your thoughts in right there. We will, of course, consume them. We'll also get your questions in for 10 with him. You can get that in right now as well. Tori will join us later in the program. Coming up here in just a bit, former U.S. Attorney Jay Town will join us. He was appointed by Donald Trump. We'll talk to him about some of the legal stuff going on, what Donald Trump can do, what Donald Trump can't do. We'll talk about all of that as we move forward right here on the fastest hour of radio anywhere on your radio dial.
You're listening to News and Views with Dale Jackson.